Lamella, lovely cushion header. For Gerrard! Oh, you beauty! What a head, son! What a head!
All right, welcome, the Aussie Red Show, episode 2. First episode done really well. Got some really good feedback, and all you guys that listened, if you can share it and keep listening, that'd be great. It's going to help us out a lot. But at the end of the day, this is something fun for Andrew and I. But yeah, I guess episode 2, opening game.
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room, which was the opening game of the season against Fulham. I'm going to share my thoughts in a minute, but straight over to the host, Andrew, for this one, mate. Yeah, give us your rundown.
Diabolical, man. The first half was probably the worst game I've seen in a very long time.
I agree.
We didn't play to our strengths. I like to think that it was basically complacency. We played better. We played better in who was that? One of the teams we played, we beat 3-1 in the friendly.
I can't remember now.
Anyway.
It was, keep going.
Even when we lost 4-0 to Manchester United, I feel like we played better, and that was like the second string team.
And that's right.
There was no. I think that we were complacent in the first half. You could see that when Klopp was sitting on the esky, he knew he had the shits. If he's not sitting where he's supposed to be sitting, and he does that really anxious smirk on his face.
He does.
you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes.
The transition was absolutely hopeless. It was rubbish. We didn't have any. And if you think we're going to play like that and win the title, you're dreaming. It's not going to happen. If you think that Henderson, Fabinho and Thiago are going to help in the transition play, as much as I love those three players, for 3 different reasons, there's no transitioning. There's no carrying the ball. There's no Wijnaldum. And the whole front three, Firmino was... They're basically... You know me, Darren. I'm very critical of Salah. I don't praise him as highly as a lot of people do. But to be fair, they didn't get any service. It was hopeless. We were chasing after shadows. That first half especially was absolutely diabolical. And for me, the biggest problem was transitioning from defence to attack when we did win the ball back, when we weren't chasing shadows. I mean, to be outplayed like that by Fulham, with all, no disrespect, we shouldn't be outplayed by a team that got promoted. I don't care who they are. Not from how far we went. So I think that's a huge issue. I'll go into the thoughts of whether we should get a CM in the next segment. But what I wanted to say is Klopp got it wrong. Mm-hmm. Manchester City played Haaland and won. We should have played Núñez. We don't have a transition player. I like Oxlade-Chamberlain when he's actually on the field, not spending more time, on the sidelines because he gets injured because he fell over his foot or something. The guy's the guy's massively, and I like him. When we were 2-1 down, when Thiago came off, probably we should have put Bobby in in a position where we could maybe help with the transitioning. But that young Harvey Elliott came on, honestly, man, for me, changed the game in the midfield. He got the ball, he carried it, he had a bit of urgency, he wanted to get it to the front 3, he knew they could do the business. He just had one direction where he wanted to pass it. He was fighting for every ball, chasing down every Fulham player. And in the first half, we just didn't do that. And I go back to thinking, Henderson's 1 year older, Fabinho's another year older. You got a front 3 that is still learning to adjust. I think Mane is still a big problem that we've lost. I would have kept him for one more season. For me, one more season, given the money he wants, Núñez, Luis Diaz, they've still got a Machu in the game. Mane, Salah, Núñez would have been amazing. Diaz and would come on when one of those players out wide was tired, come on, inject that bit more enthusiasm, let him adapt to the game. You still got Firmino changing, Jota, fighting for that central middle spot. And then, okay, he's old. Goodbye, Mane. Thank you very much for your service. Getting him rid of this season was a big mistake, and I've already got the shits about that. But for me, the game fell apart in the transition in the first half. Van Dijk should have, I don't know what he was thinking. That guy wasn't going to score from there anyway. And it was
Yeah, man,
it was just
and
full of mistakes.
it was really heartbreaking. I watched watching that game live, that first half. I'm going to say that it's a new form of punishment for me from now on. I mean, if I was to ever be captured, I'd choose waterboarding over watching that first half ever again. Serious. Well, now that my missus knows I had that first half, she might even put that on in the background to piss me off. I don't know, but it was really from the get go. Like that, it was just really horrible to watch Liverpool play like that and get out like they were outclassed by Fulham. Yes, like you said, I don't care who they are. They're a championship team, and no disrespect to them, and they did well. They come and played. And I think at half time, Danny Murphy was one of the pundits here on Optus in Australia. I'm not sure if he was overseas or anything. And he hit the nail right on the head. What Fulham are doing is they're throwing that long ball in, right? So we couldn't do that high press, right? But the thing was, we weren't getting the second balls like we do. The second balls kept on going to Fulham. It's that there was no energy, there was no pace, there was no urgency to get that second ball. It's like we were waiting for them to get the ball first, and then we were going at it. But no, it just wasn't working.
But if we won the second ball back, we need someone like an Oxlade Chamberlain who could take the ball,
yes,
right, and run with it like a Harvey. They take the ball, they run with it, and that's what I love. That's
open
what
up space, right? Yeah, and you're 100% right there. And right back, touching on that, there was no service. Salah had nothing in that first half down that flank. Diaz was again probably the only player that probably had a good half.
I liked it.
Diaz, he was so unlucky with that shot that hit the bar. You know, it was a fucking cracking shot, and you thought, and it was because that was after we conceded, right? So when we conceded 1-0 and we were playing like that, I'm thinking, I'm sitting there pulling my hair out. My missus and the kids are hearing me yelling in the lounge room. Like I was really frustrated with it. It was just terrible to watch. Everything about that first half was just horrendous. Everything. Apart, again, the only positive I'll probably take out of that half is that Diaz, again, didn't stop running, and you kept on playing well. And it just come down to, and then basically we may as well talk about the key points in that half as well, especially the goal by Mitrovic coming in. I don't think Alexander-Arnold knew he was there. Like he was just, maybe he thought the other player running in behind him. I'm not sure who it was. And then, but look, at the end of the day, it was a pretty lucky goal. Look, I'm not going to discredit that goal. Good cross, for Mitrovic to get up and get that header. Look, okay, this is my thoughts about it.
But he's got to defend. Like
he's got to. Arnold's got to. He's got to look behind him for starters. He had no awearness. Right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, Darren. It doesn't matter if he has no awareness. When he sees that ball, he's got to attack it if someone's behind him. You can't expect anyone to know.
True.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you're a defender.
Right.
Your first job is to defend, right? Right? And I love the guy. He sees the ball. I don't give a shit whether someone's behind him or not. He's got to deal with it. Like, how you see sometimes the defenders, when the ball comes in, there's no one near them, but I don't know. They just head it straight out. It's no nonsense.
Yeah.
Now's not the time to go, I wonder if someone's behind. Dude.
No, you're right. And what I mean by that, you're right. He should have attacked it, but he should also have the awareness to be aware that, because he was gingerly jogging back into that box with, not a care in the world.
Complacency, man. It was complacency.
It was. And look, I don't know. I'm going to be critical. I thought Allison could have done a little bit better with that one too, because it wasn't a powerful header, was it? It kind of bounced off the back of Arnold's back and kind of fucking rolled in there. But anyway, look, it was frustrating to see. There's a lot of and that's what happened. And like come half time, I think I sent you a message, even though I forgot you told me not to. But I think I was that frustrated, all logic went out the window, and I sent you a message, and I was just peeved. I was so angry, and so anyway, and then half time came, and thank God it did change. I mean, it did. Like okay, again, talk about this midfield thing, right? We had to rely on Milner. He came on and changed the game. Like, he's 37 years old. So you're trying to say we're a champ, we want to be challenged in the Premier League, but we're relying on a 37-year-old to come in off the bench to change the game for us? Come on, man. There's something seriously wrong there.
And a very young kid.
And a very young Harvey Elliott, right, who did immensely well. Brilliant. Him and Milner coming on changed that whole... And Nunes, obviously. Klopp
got it wrong. For me, in that game, you start Nunes. You start Nunes. I agree with Mark Goldbridge. You start Nunes, we win the game. That little back heel done the first time they got saved.
How unlucky was that, man? And then the second one, I thought, he's tried it again, and he got it in, and maybe luckily so it went in, but nonetheless, that's just his prolific nature in scoring a goal. He'll always be.
And I
And
like-
he was probably there was one moment there where Nunes had a shot and he was free in the box, and he missed. I don't know what he was trying to do. Oh, it's like, come on, man! Like I was the only thing I got. That's my only. Look, don't get me wrong. I think Nunes come on and changed the game, did unreal, but I thought he could have buried that
it's
one
that-
thing there. Might have
Yeah,
been just
yeah.
that he was trying to hit on the outside of his foot or something. I don't know, but again, we're not there. The pressure's on.
No. Do you remember when we signed Allison? He used to do those stupid things. He'd run out of the box and we
Yeah.
Klopp
Trying to be
reined him
Ronaldo.
in. Yeah, Klopp reined him in. Like he's Brazilian, so it's in his blood, right? But Klopp reined him in and said, "No, just stick to this is your game." And so
Yes.
to be fair, Allison hasn't done anything really stupid since then.
Yeah.
I think Nunes, but that's what I'm saying. Nunes is full of energy. He's got to learn to read the game. He's going to get better. I really love the guy. I love Luis Diaz. I go back to should have kept Mane in one more season, and now we
Yeah,
don't,
and
right? And I think it's going to cost us the title. To be fair, and we don't have. I mean, Ronaldo went to Roma on a free transfer from PSG because it's stuffed up. I know how Klopp is. He doesn't bring players back. I get it. And in some ways, a part of me, 50% of me agrees with that. And I would still prefer to go and get a Frankie de Jong. But if these transfers are unrealistic, bring back Wijnaldum because he's better in our squad, especially with the amount of injuries that we have. And a player that look, Henderson should not be in. Look, I know this is controversial. A lot of other fans.
Doesn't mean this
disagree.
is about you. This is our show, your opinion, man. So you do what you say.
Henderson shouldn't be in the front three. Shouldn't be driving the ball forward. Shouldn't be anywhere near the attacking positions. Fabinho, he's got he's not too bad as a deep lying playmaker. But Thiago, when you have no space, a player like Thiago who needs possession in that first half where we didn't have any, he's basically ineffective, right? Because where Thiago is really good is when we got the
out for 6 weeks now.
He's out for 6 weeks. When he's got the ball and he's near, and we got the most of the possession, and he's near the 18-yard box of our position. He's the type of player that can move out from one player, put a through ball in. Salah, Mane, or Nunes would be free, right? That's what Thiago is really awesome. When you don't have the ball and you got in that first half and you're fighting for a scrap in midfield, I'm sorry, he's not going to do the job for us. And neither is Henderson and Fabinho supposed to do the job for us, and they weren't doing it. And that's when I think we completely fell apart. And that's all I'm going to say about that game.
No, that's good, and no, mate, and I love the passion coming from it, and that's what this podcast is all about. We're fans, and we're just throwing our opinion out there, and we love Liverpool Football Club that much. It means a lot to us, right?
Completely uneducated opinions.
Oh, mate, and
but-
that's it. Like, I don't care what anyone says about us, and I don't care. These are our opinions. We love the game. We love football, and that's the beauty of it. Everyone's got their own opinion about this. I don't care what anyone says.
Look,
right?
Klopp stuffed up. For me, it was clear. Klopp fucked
Yeah.
the game up at the start, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
if we
And-
start Nunes, we win the game. Harvey
Well-
Elliott instead of Thiago, we win the game.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I think I know when we chose our starting 11 last week, I thought that would have certainly been enough to get us through that game. Based on the starting 11, based on how they played against City in the week
We
before,
should have
right?
been. It should have been.
Right?
Should have
The change, obviously, the main change being Adrian taking out, Alisson being in there, right? But to go in once we scored that equaliser, right? I had this. I thought we're going to go on and win this because that's when we started taking shape and we started attacking. We started, okay, this is it. And then they got that penalty, which brings me to that. Is so based on the penalty? Do you think it was a penalty?
Look, as a Liverpool fan, you want to say no, right? But the point is, if that's a penalty, then be consistent. That's a penalty in every game.
Yeah.
Right?
And
because does he touch him? Yes. But was he also going down? Was he ever
Yes.
going to get to that ball? No.
No.
So
But that's
he was going
that's
down.
right, and that happens a lot, right? So
But technically,
But
he could go either way.
And I know it's just reaction, and you watch it in full speed, and there's not much in it at all. But you watch it in slow mo,
No,
obviously
there's
there's always. But the Van Dijk, when he stuck his leg out, you're just asking for trouble, especially with a player like
Exactly.
Mitrovic. He's just looking for an excuse to go down, or any striker is, or anyone in the box when they've got the ball running at pace when the defender's going, and they're looking for an excuse to go down. If they're losing momentum, it just makes the defender look. And there was a couple of times.
But the rule is, Darren, a clear and obvious penalty. That was not a clear and obvious penalty.
Okay, well there you go. So if that's
You know what I mean?
and that's what they were saying. They reckon.
But to me, it was a penalty. I'll give it as a penalty. But according to the rule, clear and obvious means I mean, how do you interpret that? Like, did he
hard.
accidentally tap him? So is that clear and obvious? Because he is clear and obvious with intent, or clear and
It's a
obvious
hard-
is with.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what
a
I mean?
hard one. Look, I'm going to look at it from a new Liverpool. I'm going to take my Liverpool. I'll take my Liverpool hat off, right? And I'm just looking at it.
If it was
purely-
Liverpool, if it was for us, would you give it if it was for Liverpool?
Look, I'd be like, it's a penalty, but it's a very soft one. And unfortunately, because Van Dijk stuck his leg out, it's a penalty.
It's a penalty. Okay.
Because he stuck his leg out, and I know, and it's soft as shit, right? It's really soft, but that's unfortunately the way the game is these days. You stick as a defender, you stick your leg out against a player who's running at pace or whatnot, you're asking for trouble. And 9 times out of 10, if you stick your leg out and you just touch them, it's a penalty, you know. And it might, and as much as it sucks, it doesn't look like put my Liverpool hat back on. No, it sucks. Or even just a normal football fan's hat on. It sucks. It really sucks when someone gets tapped in there. But that's the modern game, you know. I mean, 30 years ago, they'd be dragging him up off the ground and fucking go and get up, you soft cock. You know what I mean? But these days, that's the way the game is.
With the CM, do you think we should have brought back Wijnaldum? Because I think if we're not going to bring anyone else in, even when Thiago wasn't out for 6 weeks, and Ox is injured, Kate is injured, we don't have a midfield
such
like that,
an
right?
injury prone. Okay.
Would you have brought back Wijnaldum?
Now I'm thinking it'd probably not be a bad idea, right? Because I'm starting to get a bit worried with the injury list that's piling up, right? Feels like it's not the year we had the year before, right? The year before when we had just injury crisis, right? I feel like now our midfield might have an injury crisis. What we are, so Thiago's gone for 6 weeks now with a hamstring injury. Man, that guy's always injured, and he's never when he does. It's just frustrating when such a player. You say that's 6 weeks gone again, right? 6 weeks. So what's that? What's 6 weeks take us to? October, doesn't it? Middle of October, roughly.
Yeah.
Maybe end of September. And then what? So we've got another month before the World Cup starts. And then they're going to break for a month. I think it's from the 20th of November.
6 weeks. 6 weeks. He'll come back, but he's got to get back up to speed. So by the time
by the time we get back to speed,
October.
the World Cup's and it'll be October, and then that you might have a few games, and then the World Cup starts in November.
No, isn't it December or is it November?
No, I think it starts late November and ends just before Christmas. But I don't think the Premier League starts back again until after.
So who would you bring? Who would you bring in as a CM? Who would you bring in?
Is there anyone available at the moment apart from I don't know, man? I'm going to be honest. I don't know who we're going to bring in. I mean, I know you mentioned we had a private chat the other day, and you said you mentioned in a comment on a feed that now would be a good time to maybe go for Frankie De Jong. And
and people loved it, man.
Yeah,
people like the comment, right?
But it's logical, isn't it? Like it is a logical.
We don't have a midfielder that can take the fucking ball and drive it forward. Right?
Yeah, would have taken Christian Eriksen instead of, pinching him maybe even, you know what I mean? He's a bit, look, I'm just joking. What I'm trying let's have a look at the options. Who is there available at the moment that we could possibly pinch before the end of the transfer window? When's that? End of this month, isn't it?
Well, what about Maddison from Leicester? You're telling me Liverpool Football Club could not come and take Madison from Leicester and dump him in centre midfield?
Yeah, we could.
Where
do you think the problems lie? Though, do you think do you think Klopp knows there's a problem, or do you think it's do you think it's Fenway, just the owners kind of pulling the reins on the spending? They just and it's not as if we're out of pocket with Nunes, because we bought Nunes and we profited back up, so we've gone level now, right? We sold Mane, we sold a couple of others, and now we're breaking even. So we've basically got Nunes, and that's how they do business, right? That's how Liverpool and those owners do business. They don't like to dip in their pocket much, as we know, right? No. And they're all about homegrown talent, and you're not all about it, but they're about the homegrown talent. They're not ones to go out and just splash cash with no return investment in a certain way. Like, they're not going to go out. That's what worries me. I don't know, but who else is there right now that Liverpool could? Well, I could pick. You probably could pick a bunch of people that Liverpool could go after. But do they have the money? Do they have? Not. We do have the money, but are they going to spend it?
Let's talk about the Palace game.
All right, Palace game. All right, so we have it's a kickoff here. It's on Tuesday morning at 5 a.m., which suits me down the ground, right?
Yeah, me too.
So first game at home at Anfield, so you can.
Don't text me.
I won't this time. All right, I promise. I was just frustrated last time, and I just
don't text me,
right?
So I'll get the shits.
Yeah, I can see. So do you think? I guess it's going to be the starting line. It's going to be a bit of a challenge now that Thiago's gone. I hopefully Harvey Elliott will come in.
Look, the only for me
something
it's
better.
the same. It's the same squad. Nunes starts, not Bobby.
Yeah.
So we still
can we
have-
just sorry? One thing I didn't touch on in the Fulham game, which I just quickly touch on now, is that Bobby really had a very, very poor game too.
Extremely poor.
I tried to save his stats. I couldn't find. I was looking for it on my phone before. Yeah, something about like the touches and everything. He just had a horrendous game, really bad. I can't. I had him here earlier, but something we can touch on. Maybe on another.
We could do our own segments, right? Where you can just do a podcast on your own and like.
Yeah, I'll
do
come back to this at some point.
videos.
I'll cut Bobby some slack on this one because he has been
he was
a
crap.
good player, but he was crap
he was
during that. He was
hopeless.
terrible during that game. I'll touch back on his stats again, maybe.
But I go back to the fact that they didn't really have any real service either, and there was not
Correct.
much in transition, right? So
No,
we spent
that's
more
right.
time defending the ball in the first half than we really pushed it. It was in the second half. So I would say for Crystal Palace, Elliott comes in for Thiago. It's the same team. It's just that Elliott comes in for Thiago and Nunes comes in for Bobby. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's what needs. That's all that needs to change, and all that's what needs to change. So, and do you know when Yotta's coming back? Not.
I think it's
know,
another. He's still another few weeks, I think.
It's another few weeks. So you have to start Nunes then. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you're going to put Yotta over Nunes at the moment. No, I mean, but that's how Klopp. That's again what Klopp tried to do at Fulham, wasn't it? I mean, he was trying to just ease him in, but we can't now. We have to play our number £100 million striker up front now. First game at Anfield, he needs to start. Yeah,
And like I said, he had a great game. I mean, City starts Haaland and wins the game.
Yeah, but can we just touch on that the Haaland thing, right? Oh, look. Nunes had look. I don't know if it's just here in Australia or not, but the media has gone ape shit because he scored a penalty and one goal.
And I think
Nuts
Nunes' goal was
for
way better.
days. It hasn't shut up. The whole everything. I'm like, yes, he's a good player. He scored 2 goals. Calm down. Nunes scored a goal. Come on and set one up. And Optus Sport maybe did one thing here. I'm not trying to like.
Darren? We don't. Let's not.
I don't care about. It really grinds my gears. You know.
You know what it is. You know what it is. He comes with a bigger reputation. He comes with a bigger reputation and a bigger expectation. And you know what? Let him have it, right?
Don't get me wrong. That second goal, if he's that finish, was pretty fucking slick.
Yeah. So look,
it was really
you know
quality.
what?
It was quality.
Let him have the pressure of performing every week now, right? Because there's so much pressure on him to perform. So let him have that. Let Nunes go under the radar. Let people get to the end of the season and go, Nunes scored just as many goals as Haaland. I think we need to be talking about Nunes. Let him go under the radar. He doesn't need that extra pressure on him.
No, he doesn't. And you're right, but it just shits me.
I mean, what are your score predictions for Palace, and where do you think the game will be won in? Where do you think the game will be won in Palace, and what is the score prediction?
I'm predicting that Liverpool are going to come out of the gates to rectify last week at Fulham. I think Klopp's going to be spending a lot of time in the Liverpool camp.
Oh yeah,
and
won't be much complacency.
No. I think we're going to come out pretty strong winners. I think Liverpool are going to come out first home game of the season. I think they're going to come out hard, really hard, and I think we're going to get up pretty early, maybe 2 or 3 goals really early, and maybe might coast through to a 4-0 win.
Wow. Okay. Well, I still think that the problems are still going to be there, and less so. I don't think they're going to come out being as complacent. They better not be. They better treat this every game now like it's a final of an FA Cup or a Champions League, which. So I can see us walking away from a 2-0 win. But I can see the game. I can definitely see Palace having their moments. I can definitely see us being on the back foot as we always do in patches of the game. But if we clean up that, I think if Harvey Elliott and Nunes play as good as they did against Fulham, then there'll be no reason why we won't walk away as 2-0 winners. And we'll have a clean sheet because we should dominate the game and win those second balls and be better in the transition.
Perfect.
2-0, 4-0. I think we need a prize. I was closer to the.
Yeah, you were, because I picked a clean sheet. I said 2-0, you said 2-1, right? And so we should. What we should do at the end of the season, we should pick who got the closest to all the results. And I don't know. Maybe you can get a free set of steak knives or something. I don't know.
Or the other person just gives $100 to charity.
Yeah, quality. I'm up for that. Yeah, done.
All right, cool. All right, buddy.
All right.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Please, if you enjoyed this, please give us a like and subscribe to the Aussie Reds show on YouTube. Share it around. We're trying to get into the LFC New South Wales group. So all the help you can do for us is greatly appreciated. And if you've got any ideas for episode number 3 or some segments in between from now to Crystal Palace, please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks a lot,
thanks
guys.
a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers.